perform to each other. Welcome back. Jim Jackson, Chris Broussard are back. Let's return to the Western Conference Finals. Game 1 last night. Houston threw everything they had at Golden State. Got a big game out of James Harden. Got a big game out of Chris Paul. They were at home, got a big lead, and lost by 13 points. Even still, Mike D'Antoni said today, they're not going to change their game plan.
Oh my gosh, ISO, that's all we do. No, and that's what we do best. We scored like 60% of the time on it. It's like, no, really? You know, all of a sudden, oh, they don't pass, everybody stand. Really? You watch this for 82 games? That's what we do.
Oh, good luck with that. Are the Western Conference Finals already over?
I'm not ready to go there, but I am losing faith in my prediction of a 7-game series. Particularly, seriously, if they're just going to stand around, and they overdosed on ISO. I mean, that was far more than they did in the regular season. I think they said 45 possessions. And then the possessions that just blow my mind from D'Antoni that wrote a book, Do Everything in 15 Seconds. Yeah. It's like a book about my sex life. But see, now they're getting all their shots. Now they're getting all their shots. At the end of the shot clock, it was blowing my mind.
Yeah, I mean, there's a difference between overreacting and seeing the truth. If Tom Brady throws 3 picks, it's over. Overreacting. Amazon stock comes down 8%. Company's over. Overreacting. Seeing a tidal wave headed to you and saying, we're doomed.
That's not overreacting.
That's seeing the truth. I watched Golden State last night, and I'm like, yeah, they're better at everything. Even the shooting thing, they're better at that.
And also, Jim, correct me if I'm wrong, they can bait you into ISO ball. Because when they switch everything, you go one-on-one. That's kind of how you beat it. It's can you beat your man? When they're switching everything, you can get baited into it. And I think
Golden State,
Golden State baits their opponent into playing ISO ball.
But it's so easy with Houston, but here's a different suit. I'm going to go back to this. It's that offensively, Mike D'Antoni allows his key players to kind of do whatever. And that's a mistake because, again, I always go back to accountability. Even with Golden State, the way Steve Kerr is able to speak and talk to his guys about the importance of moving the basketball. It was a play right at the beginning of the fourth quarter. James Harden was on the bench. But the ball moved quick like this, and they got a nice three-point shot. I'm like, well, why can't they do that 3 out of 5 possessions? Yeah. Then have 2 isolations? Because now you got ball. But if the coach is not going to stress that, James Harden is going to play the way he's going to be allowed to play. And then when you try to correct that, he's going to look at you like, bro, you let me get away with it now, so why you going to change? So they can't change. That's the issue. And for me, selfishly, I'll be honest with you. I just want to see a great series. I want to see it go up and down, but ain't no way. Houston, to me,
it's over.
Houston was not going to be. Now, they built their team to be competitive with Golden State. To me, they built this team. They weren't going to beat Golden State in 7 games. It just wasn't going to happen.
I could see the next 3 or, say, 3 of the next 4 games looking exactly like last night.
Yeah.
Where it's you know, it wasn't a full-on blowout. You know, Houston's close enough to hang and stay close, like you said. Yeah.
Yep.
But they're just better. They're just downright better, and it's as simple as that.
Do y'all buy the notion that he's not going to change, he's not going to adjust anything?
You know, you can be smart in separate ways. Like, for instance, Belichick. They say literally every game he has a different game plan. Okay, D'Antoni's always reminded me of Chip Kelly, the football coach. He creates a system, and it catches everybody off guard in Phoenix, in Oregon. But they don't move from the system. So Belichick doesn't have a system. Every week he's got a different game plan. There's different ways to be a genius. Right. Chip Kelly and D'Antoni have this system. To your point, it's what they are.
D'Antoni,
they don't move off it.
Non-confrontational, right?
Very
so he's not going to go to Harden or Chris Paul or somebody and say, we need to do this switch. He's just not.
But I do think, though, with the isolation, keep in mind they tried to go at Steph, okay? Yeah. But that had everybody standing around. I think they'll counter off of that a little bit more to try to get guys. And what I mean by that, if they get a switch on Steph, maybe it's a cross pick down below, because we didn't see as many lobs to Capella. No. We didn't see the open jump shot. So I do think Mike is smart enough to understand once we get this switch, instead of standing, let's get some crosses on the baseline. Let's get some movement. Now the defense has to be occupied. Last night, the defense, I'm just sitting there like this. Okay, here you come, James. That's all it was. So look for a little bit more activity, I think, from the ancillary players.
Okay, D'Antoni's not confrontational. There is a person on that roster who is confrontational. It's Chris Paul. Chris Paul, I mean, he's not just going to go down just doing the same dumb thing over and over and over again.
Yeah.
He will. This is a chance to cement his legacy, improve his legacy. He'll call out James Harden, Mike D'Antoni, or whoever. At this point, I just don't think he's just going to take this laying down.
He may need to. He may need to take the lead in that aspect because Chris is the type of player that can get everybody involved. But again, he's standing. Why not use him to be able to come off of a screen, catch it in motion, and then attack? Those are the adjustments that they have to make.
One thing I did notice when Harden was on the bench or when the ball was in Chris's hands, they did have more movement. It wasn't just ISO, everybody standing around, so you might see more of that.
All right, coming up at the 30, there's a new claim about Colin Kaepernick's NFL protest.